Hello there, Gamerinos and Gamerinas! Welcome to UnicornStorm, this is Rady, and today I'm going to take a look at Buildings Have Feelings too! And just look at it, how cute it is! This hand-painted look in this early 20th century setting, and all those cute silly little houses just standing or walking around. So just for the way this game presents itself. Gameplay, challenge, difficulty, everything else aside. Just the way this game presents itself already gives it merit. It is already enriching to the art form that is video games. And not just because it has clean and clear graphics and pleasing colors and whatnot, but because this style and this premise is full of creativity and of creative intent. So just for that I'm thankful that this game exists. That said, I do want my art to be good. Especially when it comes to video games, when there is more to it than just artistic vision and creativity, but also a component of functionality. So let's talk about the actual game. This game is a puzzle game, a light story-driven puzzle game, disguised as a town builder or business sim. We have this town with all its different districts, and it's our job to kinda develop the town and improve and beautify the townscape. For that we need to construct new buildings and open up businesses and factories and residential areas and all the like. Kinda like you do in pretty much any town builder, be it SimCity or City Skylines or all of those. Pick your poison. Now, instead of a bird's view perspective of a plot of land where we draw and assign commercial and residential zones and the like, we have a side view perspective. And there we move around a stretch of road and can build buildings on the sidewalk. Each district has only so much space, so there is a bit of a management component to how many buildings and how many large buildings we can actually construct. Also, constructing buildings and repairing them costs us bricks, and we earn bricks by upgrading businesses and by completing quests. At the start of the game there are only a handful of different buildings and businesses to open up. For the time we have to content ourselves with rental homes, grocery stores and a pub. But with time we are able to unlock more and more businesses by leveling up our current businesses to the maximum level and keeping a business's appeal at maximum. But how does this all work? To begin with, we have to find a space on the road where we can build our first building. Depending on the district, there are different buildings available that take up more or less space and might have certain special attributes like upgrade slots for unlockable bonuses or permanent either positive or negative effects like stench. Now, the type of building you constructed determines what kind of businesses are able to settle in there. You wouldn't be able to provide housing in a chimney stack, and you can't open up a factory in a housing residence. You'll see the available business types a building can hold in the construction menu. Since every district has a different, let's call it, development goal, you need to approach this process of constructing buildings and opening up businesses differently in each district. Especially since you can't just open any business at any time. Most of the businesses are still locked and need to be unlocked by, again, leveling other businesses up to max level. Each business can be leveled up to level 3, but to do so you need to fulfill the business's, let's call it, needs. You have to keep those buildings happy because they have feelings too. So that's the gimmick of this game. It's not too far-fetched that you need to build shopping opportunities near a housing complex and you need an industry to support that shopping complex. But it works a bit different in here, a bit more silly. So every business has wants and needs and likes and dislikes. Buildings produce different resources, but they also need resources to be able to level up. and they can't use the resources they produce on themselves. So a rental house produces locals, but it also needs locals to level up. So you have to build a few more of those houses to create a kind of neighborhood. It also needs food to stay happy, so you need a grocery store or later a bakery or butcher shop or something like that. The grocery store in turn only needs people to be able to level up. And as soon as you have fulfilled these needs, you can hit upgrade, which increases the star rank of a business. And by that, has it produce more resources as well as potentially more appeal and happiness, but it can also add some negative factors, like having the building produce noise or a foul odor or pollution, and it can also give the building dislikes, like losing happiness whenever it is close to a factory or close to smelly buildings. And you can't always avoid that. Sometimes you need to upgrade a building even though it results in a negative outcome for you short term, but you need the resources it produces to level up other buildings, which will in turn unlock different buildings that you can then construct and level up all over again. So there's a bit of a production chain going on, just that it's not automated. You have to do everything manually. You are this little house and you have to walk down the road and speak to the other buildings, ask them their needs, tell them how to improve, and even take them by the hand and lead them to a different location. Because sometimes, after having leveled up a bunch of buildings, one of those buildings suddenly begins to slowly deteriorate. This can happen when a building doesn't get the resources it likes, but is instead only exposed to the things it doesn't like. Like a house that needed, let's say, a simple breakfast, but since you upgraded the restaurant next door, it doesn't produce simple breakfasts anymore. It only produces expensive lunches from now on. And the increased cooking produces a strong smell, and also now there are a lot of loud people in the neighborhood. And all these drawbacks decrease the happiness of your house that was fine in this neighborhood, but now it gets increasingly unhappy and slowly deteriorates into a state of disrepair. And now you can either move different buildings into the neighborhood and move the negative buildings away, or you just take this house by the hand and move it into a better neighborhood, or better said, more fitting neighborhood. Whenever a house is too unhappy for too long, it develops damages like mold or thin walls or something like that. And when a house has 3 damages, it needs to be demolished. But later in the game you are able to repair these damages. So now the gameplay loop in each district consists of checking the main goal for the district, which always means to construct a certain building you most of the time haven't unlocked yet. So you need to draw up a roadmap and construct step by step the correct buildings needed to reach your ultimate goal. That means building low-level houses and businesses, leveling them up, generating the resources needed for higher-level buildings, constructing them, and then closing the low-level businesses to make room for even higher-level businesses. And it's important to note that your buildings don't actually produce resources. At no point will you have food or machinery or woodworks or whatever just lying around. It's more like a single building or a single business is worth one person and one food. And it is able to provide this worth to like 3 houses on the left and the right. And to upgrade a building, all its needs have to be satisfied right at that moment. And if you move this one building just a bit farther away, then it loses all the resources it had just a moment ago. And this is what differentiates this game the most from other town builders. It's not the art style, it's not the side view perspective, it's not the fact that you have to speak to every single building. Aside from bricks, which are your currency, You can't save any resources. This isn't really a management game. This is a puzzle game. There are some management aspects, and the setting is clearly a town builder, but the core gameplay, the core idea is a puzzle game. You need to construct a certain building and have a popularity this high, and these are all the possible resources you get to do the job. So now just move buildings around, level them up in the correct order, don't let them become too unhappy, and always keep your puzzle goal in mind. Not every district needs to be self-sustainable. You don't need housing, commercial and industrial complexes in every district. Well, you need every type of building at one point. But there is no shame in just dismantling all your housing if none of the other buildings need local population to upgrade. If you need room for certain businesses, close up those you don't need anymore. Even though it might hurt their feelings. You'll just have to live with that, I guess. So yeah, it's a cute little game. I like the core idea of this. I like how it is presented. It's a really neat puzzle game. And since I'm really bad at the whole management aspect of all those town builders, park builders and whatever building games, and I exclusively play those games just for the creative aspect. I want to build this town, I don't want to manage it. I'm too bad at managing it. I go bankrupt at the earliest possible moment every time, even with strategy games. I love the base building, I'm really bad at the strategy. And that's why this game just speaks to me. While I do have to keep each house's positive and negative factors in mind and how they influence each other, I can mostly just build the town how I want. I have a bit of creative freedom over how I want a building to look. And as long as I don't totally disregard each building's wants and needs, I can arrange them the way I want, and I can just enjoy the scenic view of my town, or at least of each district. It's not complete freedom, but it's enough to satisfy this creative urge I have with these kinds of games. So yeah, I enjoy this quite a lot. There are some minor issues I've run into. The keyboard and mouse controls are mostly fine, but a tiny bit finicky. It is quite easy to misclick when you construct a building, though adjusting the position is quite easy to do, and since the buildings can move around, you don't lose anything by building a house in the wrong spot. All the different menus could have been designed and arranged a bit more user-friendly. I mean, it's not hard to navigate through them, but they could have been a tiny bit more intuitive. My biggest issue is a glitch I ran into quite often that prevents you from closing the reward screen after having leveled up. And that means you can't move around, you can't leave the menu, you can't click on other buildings, you're stuck in this reward screen. Well, not quite. There is a workaround, because you can still open up the game menu, and from there you can either quit the game, or another thing that works, you can select another district and fast travel to it, which closes all the menus. It's not a solution, because sometimes on the reward screen you unlocked a special permit for a building that gives it a special bonus effect. And you have to select it at that moment. And if the menu screen is stuck, you can't do that. And even though you can use this workaround to continue playing, you lost the opportunity to add a bonus ability to one of your buildings. Not the biggest problem, but since this game released over a year ago, this should have been fixed. And there is no excuse for that. I've heard that the controls were much worse when the game first released, and they fixed that, so I don't know why this glitch is still in the game. It seems that it is triggered when too many things are happening at the same time, which can happen quite often in this game. Even when I conscientiously waited for the reward screen to appear, waited a moment longer, and then, and only then, clicked the close button once, the menu still became stuck because in the background a quest just resolved itself, or another building was able to be upgraded, or something happened. It doesn't break the game, but it's quite annoying. And well, yeah, since it is already a year later, I don't have high hopes that they will patch this, that they are still working on this game, but well, we've seen other miracles. To summarize, this is a really cute game with a very neat art style. A puzzle game, town builder hybrid that offers you a lot of aesthetic freedom, at least after you've completed your district goal. I enjoy my time with it quite a lot, and if you liked what you've seen, then maybe this might be a game for you. And with that, I wish you the greatest of days. That's it from Rady, and I hope to see you again on the next game.